Good evening. My name is Lolita. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. Today's topic will reflect upon women in the Revolution era. This topic comes from the reading on how Betsy Ross became famous by Laura Thatcher Europe. In that reading, it pretty much talks about women. If Betsy Ross didn't exist, do you think women of some other profession would have filled the shoes of a female revolutionary representative? Myself, I do believe that, because it only takes one person to make a change. And I do believe that if one woman, if it was not Abigail Adams, if it wasn't Deborah Garnett, if it wasn't Phyllis Wheatley, if it wasn't Mary Hayes, it would have been one woman. Her name may or possibly would have been known, just not sure. But as we know, it only takes one person to make a change. But together, more than one can make a revolution. This goes back to the person that I chose, which is Deborah Sampson Garnnet. She was born on December the 17th, 1760 in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Her and her family was abandoned by her father when she was around the age of 5. And due to the struggle and the poverty that was forced upon her family, she was sent to live with other family members. And when it became too much to take care of her, she was pretty much bounced from home to home. The last home, she was with a pastor that took her in, and there she worked as an indentured servant. She also worked on the farm. She did other jobs, even working as a teacher, to survive and make a way for herself. Also, she was used to doing physical and demanding work that required heavy lifting. By working on that farm, she did a lot of work, a lot of hard and strenuous work. During that time as a teenager is when she became fascinated with politics and war, and how all of this was having an effect on her country, the country that we live in today. She made a conscious decision to do something to help. And accordingly to her memoir, written by Herman Mann, she also wanted to break those barriers of sexism against women during that time. During the time of the Civil War, women played one role, a domestic role, and that role involved cooking, mending the garments of the men in the war, and taking care of the injured men that had been wounded in battle. As the war raged on, Miss Sampson Garnnet took that chance by enlisting in the 4th Massachusetts Regiment. And she did that as Mr. Robert Shirtliff. For her, it was easy because she was much taller than most of the men that was in there. She was already big in stature for a man. Well, not for a man, but pretty much she was bigger than the average man. And with her features and the amazing strength that she showed, it fit her perfectly. She was cut out for this type of work. She was cut out to show that females have more to offer. And they was created equal as men, even though the Declaration does not mention anything about women. But it do says that all men are created equal. Nothing about a female. But what also helped her and what pretty much worked out in her favor was that there was no physical assessment. So she didn't have to undress and go through the physical exams that one have to go through now when they decide to enlist in any type of service. So for them, her secret was safe. Miss Garnett was a self-taught woman. She wasn't afraid of anything. She wasn't afraid of hard work. She wasn't afraid of strenuous work. And she was ready to go to war. And I mean that literally. In 1782, she led a raid that resulted in the capture of 15 men. She took hits to the body, being injured in the forehead, and she endured pain like no other when she was injured with a musket ball to the thigh. To remove that bullet on her own and then sew herself back up, to do all of that to keep her secret shows me that she was a dedicated patriot. She just did not seek any type of medical attention. Now, with me saying that shows that she was a dedicated patriot, according to some historians and other authors, there were some inconsistencies on the reason why she joined. Some think it could have been money. Me personally, I agree with some of the other half. I think she was really a true patriot of the United States. And with her decision and not backing down and showing men that a woman can do the same job that you do, she paved the way. She paved the way for other females. It wasn't until 1783, while on duty, she developed a high fever and fell ill, which caused her to lose consciousness. Is when her secret was discovered. For over 2 years, Sampson's Garnnet true sex had escaped detection, despite of close calls. After being discovered that Mr. Robert Shirtliff was actually Miss Deborah Sampson at the time, she received an honorable discharge in 1783. And with the help of Paul Revere, she received a full pension. from the state of Massachusetts, according to the memoir of a American young lady. Although after she married, she did marry after she married actually Benjamin Garnett after receiving her honorable discharge, and she went on to do the domestic role by being the typical farmer's wife. But I think she was so used to being out there and encouraging. That's the word I'm going to use. She encouraged other females, giving lectures and talking about her experience as the first woman to dress in full military gear and get on that front line along with other men. Now, this was an interesting reading about Deborah Garnett and other women that played a role. Betsy Ross I think may have played a role in it, and I love the American flag. But for me, in my opinion, Betsy Ross' role was a minimum of what Deborah Sampson Garnett played during the Revolution era. Now, I would like to thank her and other women for paving the way for the women today to be able to get in full military gear and fight in such wars that I have pretty much not witnessed in my time, but have seen it on TV, such as Operation Desert Storm, the war between Iran and Iraq, and right now with the war that we in. I'm sure it is so many women that's fighting on that front line. And this is the conclusion of my topic discussion on the women from the Revolution era. Thank you.